Happy Friday, guys. So, let's talk real talk. So, females go through all sorts of stuff, as do males, not forgetting you guys, because you guys always go along for the ride too. But yesterday, at one of my normal follow up appointments, came up the discussion of something that I thought I got past. But I'm realizing now I'm not getting past it, and I have to make a decision. So, a lot of times, a lot of women end up having to make the decision to have a hysterectomy or not. Well, I had my fallopian tubes removed about a year ago, and I did that because I had these Essure coils placed, which was like having your tubes tied. But long story short, it's like they had nickel in them, and they were recalled all these years ago or whatever, yada yada yada. But come to find out, I have some metal still retained in my uterus. So it's a vicious game of, do you go on with your life or do you remove your uterus? Because ultimately you kind of need to, especially if you're allergic to nickel like I am. But the other discussion that came up was producing fibroids. And in a year I've made, I don't know, something like 4 more fibroids. So their concern is that ultimately I'll have to have my uterus removed. Well, I don't want to face that. I just didn't want to do that. But I had to ask myself, why is it such a big concern to me? Why am I like resisting this? Why am I fighting this? And it came down to telling me that I'm not like a mom or something. But I am a mom, and I know I'm a mom. And I know by removing, having a hysterectomy, you're not telling me I'm not a mom and that I can't be a mom, but that's like the trigger reaction. And a lot of women go through this, and a lot of women don't like to talk about it. But this is something that we should be able to talk about. Because just because you have a hysterectomy doesn't make you any less of a mom or a woman. It really doesn't. But women don't like to talk about it or admit that that's like one of the things that you're saying to them. Because it feels that way. But you are a mom. You'll always be a mom. It doesn't make you any less. I mean, I had to sit back and think, and go, I am a damn good fucking mom. I have 3 fucking grown children. And that was the other thing for me. I was like, my youngest graduates high school this year. So this is kind of like coming at a full circle time where I should just do it now because we're closing that chapter too. It's a little overwhelming, but it's also at the point where it's like, just do it now, where you can kind of like save your ovaries too, and you don't have to go on all the hormones and stuff like that. But it's one of those things where it makes you sit there and you're like, but you're telling me I can't be. But you are. So don't let that peace be taken away from you. You have to step outside and look at things from different perspectives, and it's really hard to do. And these things aren't talked about openly, and they need to be talked about openly. We should be able to have these conversations, and it shouldn't be, pushed down and held back and felt shamed or anything. Be yourself. Say what you want to say. Have those discussions. Fuck people if they make you feel like you can't. And if you need to cry about it, cry about it. If you need to get angry and scream about it, scream about it. I did a lot of crying yesterday about it because it did. It hurt. It was frustrating and scary. It's all sorts of things. And so I did my normal method of which I like to do about things is I write that emotion and then write what each letter makes me feel about that emotion until I just couldn't do it anymore. And that's how I work through things. But ultimately, I am who I am. I'm never going to be able to change that. You can't take that away from me. This is just a stepping stone. And then I'm here to talk about it with anybody and everybody who wants to talk about it. Because I know I'm not the only one. And I know plenty of other women go through this, but they just don't talk about it. And we should talk about it. So, don't keep it to yourself because you're not alone. And talking about it helps you work through it. So that's my 5 cents today. Happy Friday in 4-4 Portal. Love you.